Hi, today we are going to start our sixth review session for the 2026 high school rules. Today I have Hito, myself, Jake, and today we are joined with Rob Sorey, who is the SRA of the IRC, helps also with the high school here in the metro area. He is also a USSF coach. So we're just going to jump right into today. We kind of have a potpourri of videos. Um, there's a few trends, but some of them, all of these were sent in the last week and a half. So we thought we would discuss them with you guys. So let me share my screen. Okay. I'm trying it a little bit different, guys. Instead of PowerPoint, I'm trying to do it a little bit different to try to get the video better, quality better. So in this case, we're going to have a foul. Or a collision right there. Both the players are a little bit dazed. The referee decides that there's going to be a caution given. He does wait for the player to try to compose himself. And then he walks off at that point. The rest, you're going to have to trust me on why this video was sent in. The referee's language that he said he had it coming to him. So, what I assume that means a persistent fouling or maybe reckless, but let's assume the referee meant persistence. He had it coming to him. But a coach sees an injured player, and then it sounds like he has it coming to, he had an injury coming to him. Please, 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 let's start using the rule book language. Persistence, that was his third one. Walk away. Check on the players. Check on both White. If you look again, White was shaking his head a little bit. So was Red. Please, right there. They're both holding their heads. Bring the trainer on right then. All right, panel. Anything else you would like to add or on that particular one?
I think you hit it on the head there at the end, Mike, right? Two folks go head to head, hit the trainer on straight away. Let's get them checked out. Let's not play with head injuries this season.
Okay, moving on. Okay.
Okay. This particular situation, again, we have injury, looks like to the knee area. Referee recognized that there is a foul. The foul has happened right in front of the benches. Referee is attending the player, injured player, but this waving of the arm, saying that there's not much there. I would suggest as a referees that we stay away from these waving and acting that we are the trainers. Be sincere, check up on the players. If you recognize there's an injury, please stop it. Allow the trainer to come in. But this kind of waving arms, it's not very recommended, but neither side in this particular situation. So, and as well as he's turning, he said something that he shouldn't be saying. As a referees, we need to recognize where we're at on the field, close to the benches, be positive, be supportive instead of having a gotcha moment or having a last board versus player or versus the benches. So as a referees, be careful where you're at on the field and how you're applying your discussion, how you directing your dialogue with the players in the benches.
So the email from the coach, basically, they were asking, hey, you guys work hard. Thank you very much. We just thought this was a little disrespectful. Our player really thought he did get fouled. If we were breaking down the foul, well, the referee even saw he got fouled. The player thought it rose to reckless. Very good. It wasn't right in front of the benches. That's one thing that needed to be talked about there. Okay. Although we should always be respectful no matter where we are in the field.
No question about it. We can base our decision based on the video right here. If we want to really, correct the referee in this particular situation, we can definitely give the yellow card for a reckless foul and with the cleats up, and that's not that. But we were not judging this code for that reason. We're discussing and addressing the manner how we discuss and have a dialogue with the players. We want to demand and ask for respect, but we have to give respect back.
Perfectly said.
And a little
All right.
empathy goes a long way, right, Hito?
That's correct.
Have some compassion for our players that are working their tails off to play their hardest in these games.
Agreed.
Let me set this game up. White is ahead 3-0. There's approximately 15 to 20 seconds left in the game. I'll just set that one up. Okay, Jake, do you want to start talking through as we watch?
Yeah, in this clip, obviously we've got a collision that happens in and around the penalty area, and we continue play while a player is on the ground visibly injured. In these situations, obviously as we're coming to the penalty area, we need to give maximum effort to be able to make a big decision, a game impacting decision, especially in the final seconds. When we judge what's happened and occurred, if we see an injured player that has gone down in this manner and is seriously injured, we should be stopping the game and letting the trainer tend to this injury. Stop the clock and ensure that we get things straightened out and the restart correct. But we need to be advancing towards that injured player. Again, player safety is our number one priority, and that's why we're here, is to keep this game safe, fair, and fun. And this is one of those instances where more effort and compassion for an injured player is needed. And then Hito, I think you might step in and talk about some more background on this later part.
I want to just say, Jake, very well said as far as, up to this point. And so now, since Michael is showing us, we have a situation where we have AR, and then to the left there's a referee, center referee, and then to the far right, this very same trainer who was attending the injured player decided that, she was going to have some dialogue with the referee, which, we're all passionate about it, and we in this split second, maybe we would like to do something differently than what she did. So the advice and encouragement and the way how we want to address these kind of instances is, as a trainer on our high school matches, if there's such a thing that you disagree and you maybe don't approve, did the referee stop at the right time? Did they administer proper injury properly way? I know that's your profession. I know you're passionate. Please direct your dialogue with the school AD, and then have the AD decide if it's need to be escalated. Then contact the local assigner, contact the local chapter, or just reach out either boys or the girls union, and then they can proceed to us, and so we can address properly. But I by any means, please do not confront the referees because you disagree how he or she managed the injury during the game.
So I'm just going to sum this up. Thank you, guys. Right here, if this referee is checking in on the player and not letting the last 15 seconds go because it's a long night, cold night, whatever, I don't know if this happens, right? Safety does matter. That's the second time we've mentioned this in a very short training.
No, right. Michael, to summarize, and Jake already said it, to summarize, referee made a boo-boo right here. He should stop, and I don't care, I don't care if we have a split second or one, tenth of the second, whatever. We stop the game and allow the trainer to come immediately, and then let them deal what they need to do, what they're trained for. So referee made a mistake, but we also want to, properly address, other parts of this, how we gonna have a much smoother outcome, on our matches.
Great. All right, let's talk about this time not the referee report, but let's talk about two different things on this one. There is, look at the clock.
A
Okay,
clear
so
free
I'm
kick,
gonna,
obviously signaled, right?
what's that?
You
Yep,
you have a clear foul signal.
Yep, clear foul signal right there. White tries to give them the ball. Okay, let me stop right there. 15 seconds. This mirrors us almost exactly of the last training. It is late in the game. There's a counter that's trying to happen. The ball does not look like it actually comes to a rest. Okay? These are the scenarios that we would like you just to stop the clock. You have discretion. Okay? But there's much more to this video that we would like to talk about. So now the score is 3-1. Was it Jake, Rob, somebody? I
Yeah.
forgot who was going to talk about this one.
This is the person in front of you is not a player and is not a trainer. This is the coach for the team that just got scored on. This is a coach that is clearly trying to identify what has occurred prior to the goal. He's insisting that there is a roll of the ball and now dissenting directly to the referee. Again, we've touched on this. I know Hito and Mike in their points of emphasis for this year. Last year, we have talked about this coaches' behavior and where the line is within their technical area responsibility. This is completely unacceptable for the match, for any match. A coach should not be out on the field dissenting a referee's decision at any moment during any game. And this boisterous out, rightfully, I mean, we can argue the point of whether or not the ball was rolling and whether the outcome of this match, what that looks like. But the actions of this coach are earning by rule a red card for his actions. This instance is dissent in an egregious manner directed at the referee while on the field.
And it doesn't matter what he says, right, Jake?
Correct. Yep.
Public. It's
Yes, public prerogative, visual, so we need to be addressed, we're dealing with the high school events. He can relate his message, from his sideline over there just fine. The referee can hear him, assistant can hear him, and then he can demand the answer, which he should be given, proper answer by the referee in this instance. But him coming, stepping 10, 15 yards on the field, even stepping on the other half of the field, that doesn't belong to his side, that's just creates the other issues that, we cannot allow in our matches. So if we ignore this, particular situation, then we can just allow and continue having much bigger issues, for our referees to manage. So yes, by the points of emphasis that, Mike spent last year talking, with Jim, and we again reiterated and talked this year, we must apply the letter of the law and give the red card.
And if
I
you
will-
look, if you look at the bottom of the screen there, you can see the technical area is clearly marked on this field. So there's no question of where the technical area starts and ends.
But I want to ask you, Mike, and then everybody in the panel, just, so because of the same token, I know we didn't discuss this, prior to preparing. So do we have any brief and problem with the team that just scored on and running on 10 yards on the field? So how would we address that? Would we okay with the giving or talking to the home coach in this instance? Because look at this, far player. He comes probably 10, 15 yards on the field, celebrating. So is that
So-
appropriate for a high school event?
I think that why we can't necessarily prevent that. It is not in a taunting manner, in my opinion. Would we prefer it not to happen? Yeah. I don't see a caution helping us. There's even a coach right there trying to bring them back eventually. So I do think that's part of being emotional. If I was going to card anyone, who would be whoever was in street clothes right there. But I think that's part about being emotional. I don't think it was directed at any player on the other team. That's fine.
I'm playing being the devil's advocate. I would be happy if the referee just mentioned something, let the coach know, so we still have on this video, just, hey, guys, coach, please try to control whatever. So just to kind of, so you can see that managing both sides,
And
this
the
is,
counterpoint is, yeah, if you're going to properly send off that coach, a word to the coach that's semi-public that is
Yeah.
able to mention something about maintaining their confines of their technical area is also a very smart decision to
Yeah.
help the look of fairness between the two. And maybe we can just very briefly talk about as a panel, if this coach does this instance in his technical area, how are we managing this, or what are some tools and opportunities that maybe the referee might have in this instance, given the passion that we just talked about for the other team? What are some ideas that we have in the last 10 seconds if this coach maintains their confines of their technical area?
Rob,
If-
Yeah,
you want to
again,
adjust his
it's
question?
right. Yeah, I think to your point, Jake, if he's inside of his technical area, he's questioning a call publicly, right? We can clearly see it on the VO camera that he would have been questioning this publicly. Again, depending on what he says, right, is depending on what color card he's going to get because he's dissenting publicly. Does he throw something, right? Does he use language that we're not allowing to be used in high school soccer, right? So any foul language. Is he, saying that you're working for the black team, right? Is he telling you that you're helping them out, right? Is he questioning your objectivity in the game? So if he's questioning the decision, is, hey, referee, the ball is rolling, right? That restart should be illegal. We should go back to the restart, right? If he's being professional about it, we can manage that with a word. But again, as soon as he throws his hands up, he's being public. We have to manage that with a caution. And again, if he steps over the line and questions your objectivity or you use his foul language, then we have to go to our back pocket, unfortunately. But yeah, that would be my advice to the group. Manage it depending on how he acts, right? If it's a little more professional where it's questioning the decision, let's help him, right? Let's kind of calm the situation. If he's just yelling, we can calm that situation. We can diffuse that, use our verbal judo and kind of work through it. But anything more, then we have to unfortunately go to one of the pockets.
Yeah, I just want to add, well said, Rob, if we can de-escalate and help de-escalate situation, if you can just, being a soundboard there, have him just air out, because obviously he's frustrated with his own players, and he's not going to yell at them, but we are conveniently located right there in front of him, so he's going to, air out his dirty laundry and just listen if you can. But, I just want to add this, Rob, if this would be his second yellow, just, and so ended up being red card, but while he was on the sideline, not encroaching the way he did. Well, I'm just talking about if he was on the sideline or whatever. As long as he's not using some bad language that I cannot, my hands are tied, I will try to de-escalate and try to keep him in the field and let him know that he got the free pass right now, before whatever second instance.
Yeah, I think that's knowing the clock, right? We have 10 seconds left. Sending that coach, what do we really win out of it, to your point, Hito, right? If he's on the sideline, he's yelling, even if he's being a little more demonstrative with his hands, can we de-escalate and manage the situation? Let him know there's 10 seconds left. We hear what he's saying, right?
Yes.
But we're going to go on and off to the next game. So.
Okay, as we move on, I'm going to point out the score is 7-0 in this particular game. We are going to have a decision. Where White wins the ball, beats his initial defender, and we have a couple other defenders in the way. So we are considering, right? We talked about this last few times. We are considering Dogso, then down to Spa, then down to Reckless, then down to just a regular foul. Okay. I think at high school level, with this top guy tracking, I think I'm going to go with Spa here. But because the distance from goal at the 4Ds, to me, it's the distance that doesn't hold true in this case. Gentlemen?
Who's up 7? White team?
Let's see.
Well, the white team is always a visiting team, so.
Unless it's a tournament.
Yeah,
So I guess I'm
guess-
not
guess
100%
is
sure.
0. So guess is 0. So white team is 0.
Unless it's a tournament that we don't know on the scoreboard, right? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
And I mean,
this is, yeah.
Speaking of this clip in a vacuum, if we were to erase the bottom corner and we didn't know anything that was happening here, clearly there is impact that this player is doing something more than just a simple foul. This is a clear hold. It is a clear action that this player is taking tactically to eliminate the opportunity of that attack. So no matter what, we're starting at a yellow card. Now we build ourselves, do we go red card because our 4Ds are met, or is there one of those that's not satisfied? In this instance, you've got two potential opportunities. Obviously, direction to goal is clearly satisfied, and his ability to play the ball is obviously there. Now we've got our defenders and we've got our distance to goal. In this game, with the amount of pace that this player is having and the amount of pace that the defender on both the left and right side have, they've both started sprinting at the same time. We always know that the player with the ball is going to be slower than a defender without a ball running. We are 40 yards from the end line in a football goal, so we're actually really 60 yards to goal. We have plenty of time for these covering defenders to be able to track back and prevent any further attack and have an option. So there's enough of a doubt here that I think a red card would be an incorrect decision. In this instance, I think yellow card is a much safer decision, given the scenario that we've got with two covering defenders and the distance to goal.
Okay, I don't think we need to say more.
Yeah.
The coaches will always yell last defender. Last defender doesn't always mean dog so. Here is another spa and dog so decision. This will happen on the right-hand side of the referee sees a foul. Okay. Referee sees that it's on the outside. Referee wants to verify and is going over to his AR. Jake, you started as I was just setting it up. I don't if you were going to talk through this one or who, I'm not sure.
I'm gonna take a crack at this. So basically, referee does get caught, with a bit distance between him and the actual play, but he has a definitely good angle and clear view of what's taking place. So in this instance, the referee calls the foul. I want to track back just for a split second, watching the video, watching review, from the comfort of my living room. This does not even appear. It looks a foul that we can call by the video review. When you have a live game, that's completely different. So in this instance, just if I review this particular take, I don't have foul. But since the foul is called, referee is closing down. He's continuing his run, doing everything what we are training the referees to do. Close the gap, recognize first, where the foul took place in this instance, and I know I watched this clip several times. It is about 1 yard or even 2 yards outside of the penalty area. Then he goes and check. As you can see, he's running to his AR. They discuss, come back, and restarts his yellow card, spa. Reason why we are supporting spa, well, actually taking back what I'm supporting spa, before, speaking and hearing what panel has to say is we have, several of these that Jake just, discussed, in a previous clip. And one of these that, in my instance, my review, my take is this attacker throws himself up, down black player, and then he does not have a chance to get to the ball before the Valley, or in this instance, goalkeeper for the white team grabbing the ball, getting a possession. So if we don't have full 4Ds, in effect, then we have to downgrade it and then call it as a spa versus dog, so the 9 goals for 30. So in this instance, after watching this, take numerous times. My opinion is, as I informed the coach, who is located right down here, and if you continue playing the clip, down here, waving his arm, discussing and baiting for the red card, I would restart with the yellow, and off we go outside the penalty area. But
So
I wonder
no, I
what the
agree.
panel has to say about that.
I think that the obvious was taken away with the ability to play the ball with the keeper. So I'm on board with.
I do want to add one extra thing here because I agree with both of you, right? I think you made the perfect. As we kind of play this out, give it a second here to play. Who has the ball in their hands? Right, the goalkeeper. Yeah. It's going to be Black's ball. Before you go over to your AR, don't let those players come together. That's going to be a problem. That's right. Let's not allow that to happen. Let's make sure everything's kosher on where the foul situation is going to be, what we're going to do. Let's make sure we get the players separated before we leave a group of players by themselves. You've turned your back to everything. So the decision was made, right? You have a card color in your mind. Let's manage the situation that we're going to have there because, again, you have a card color probably in your mind. Let's separate everybody. Let's talk to our AR, get the information we need to get, and then let's go back and decide on a final solution. But let's not be too hasty and get away from players when we just had a foul that could be a red card decision
in a close game.
Correct.
Well, yeah. Before we go off of this one, Mike, some referees have asked for some more advanced topics here, and can you back it up to as we progress down the field, and I'll tell you when to stop. All right, we can go ahead and stop. So when we're judging our ability to assist in situations here, let's be aware, this is an up level. Be aware of where our crew members are as we're making this assumption, as well as if you are an assistant referee and you are 20, almost 20 yards out of position and unable to help, I don't know is a completely acceptable answer for this situation. You should not be providing information on whether this is in or out when the decision is this close to the penalty area if you are in this position. I don't know is completely acceptable, and I want to make sure that we get this, because if we make the incorrect decision, we get information from our assistant referees and it sways our decision as the referee, and we have it right and they are out of, just be aware of where we are when the actual challenge happens. This is an example of when an assistant referee is not in the perfect position to be able to help the referee. That's okay. Just say, I don't know.
If you're talking about a little bit above, then like the next level here is who jumps in front of who. Okay, to me, it looks like Black is jumps in front of White at the last second to create contact. Anyhow, that's just a little bit different level. But that's something.
Can we go one more to the referee, right? Jake, you talked about the AR from a national referee perspective. That referee, where the referee's far, and we kind of know why, right? If you go back again, Mike, to where the initial contact of that ball, what happens? Yeah, right, Hito, right? I think from two nationals, right? This is not what we would expect, right? He's slow on his movement. He's reactive to the play. By. Yeah. So again, I think if we make that first run, go ahead. Sorry, Jake.
No. When you see a player getting ready to take that long kick, you should be aware and ready for your defender. When you're scanning, your first scan should be who is going to be the matchup that this is going to, and begin your sprint.
Okay. So Jake, you're telling the referees that are scanning. At what point does he ever scan?
Correct. This is the up level I'd like
what's taking place. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yes. Yeah.
Make sure as a referee we're scanning.
But the Rob or whoever brought it up about a black player diving in front of I just want to say and end on this note. This is a very well coached attacker and knows what to do around penalty areas. So good job whoever is coaching him.
Correct. Yeah, that's true.
making a referee's job.
We have to make a decision. They're forcing a decision, and we need to be in the position to see and be able to make the decision. So
well done.
Okay. We have another, I'll just go spa. Well, I won't go spa. We have another foul, coming up. Okay. So this is certainly at high speed, from some distance, so I'm now considering considerations, right? I'm taking Dogso off the board right away. This player has multiple defenders behind him. So I don't have Dogso. I don't even think I have Spa here, right? Like,
Not by
what I
any stretch.
do have here is contact. And once again, we have the ability of video, which you don't have live. He touches the ball with the top of his foot, and then later his foot comes up. The referee is caught looking in the back. And his interpretation was a little bit different here. But I have reckless here. This game was getting a little chippy late in the game, I guess. But
Well, and you can tell from where the referee's position is. If we started our run when this challenge happened to fight for the angle to get further in one direction or the other, preference here is obviously going to the left a bit more to get the angle. This referee is looking through two different players. We may see a different point of contact, and the referee in this instance has the point of contact being a little higher than actually the contact is when issuing the final decision. And I think if we fight for that angle a little further to the left, I think we get a different point of contact. With the speed intensity, we're there, but I think our point of contact is what changes the outcome here. And I think if we fight for that angle a little more, I think we see the correct contact happen.
So, in general, guys,
Yeah.
we've had 3 red cards here that maybe we didn't have to give. Maybe we do, maybe we don't. And this panel, Todd Tharp, Tanya Moe, Hito, myself, we support red cards. We are 100% in your thing. This is 100% about training. I'm not even saying trying to talk yourself out of a red card, but make sure it is there. We have to, and I don't know, guys. I'm a little bit
Supportable, Mike.
frustrated.
Supportable,
right
I
now.
think, is the word you're looking for, right? Is this a supportable red card, right? Can we support this? And I think we want to support the referees every way we can. But when you write your report, let's make sure we're writing our report properly. But let's make sure it's something that we can all watch the video and understand and see what you're doing. But again, late in the game, if you don't have to give a red card, we don't have to give a red card. I think that's what you're trying to say, right, Mike?
It is. There's most of the cards are coming in super late. Here was
Right.
another decision that I don't have any studs over this ball. The referee comes in very nonchalantly. It's the same scenario as the other one I had. I just don't. It's late in the game. I just don't see this as serious foul play.
If any spectators watching this, they do not expect a red card based on the referee's actions coming out of this. We can go one of two ways looking at the foul, no problem. We can discuss that point later, but the referee's demeanor should match what the outcome is in this instance, and the referee's demeanor in this instance does not come close to what an expected red card decision. I'm sure if we were to listen to the video, I'm sure the whistle is not at a red card level that we would expect to hear for this level of a decision.
So, Rob, I was just playing this because it was going into your story. I did not mean to cut you off.
Oh, no,
so
you're okay.
You said basically late game red cards, make sure they're supportable and that they're there, right? Did I miss that?
No, you're right. You're right.
Yeah.
It's supportable. The report that you write after the red card, that we can clearly understand what you're giving the red card for. This way, when we go back to these clips, right, we're all kind of taking these in a bit of a microscope. To Hito's point, we're sitting on our couches looking at these clips, breaking them down frame by frame. But it's really hard to do at times because some of the reports we're getting doesn't match what's actually happening on the field, right? And that puts us all in a tough spot, right? Because Hito's point, we support, or we're supporting what you're doing and seeing on the field because it's real live time. We just need the reports to reflect that, all of that.
And just, Mike, let me just, give 10 more seconds to this. I want to give some love to the referees. We're in the second part of the season. It's been a very strange season. We have lots of cancellation. We have crazy weather, crazy things were happening, throughout the season. So I get it. I've been there, and through all of that. So I get it. You're tired. You're having rough, times, whatever. So, but still, please, guys, consider and, be professional as much you can, and warn, try to consider all of these things, what we are mentioning, what we are talking, and the importance, and put yourself in the players, not the coaches, coaches, referees dime a dozen, but the players. We are there for the players. They're working hard, they're practicing, all week, whatever, and that's their World Cup match, and when we show up, try to do your very best. I'm not trying to say that, you're not, but, just be aware what's happening, and who you have that not, that officiating was taking place, but try to do it the best you can, and off you go.
Yeah, and unfortunately, our tiredest part of the season is the most important part of the season for the players right now, right?
Exactly.
So there's only one more ranking for sub-state to come out, which comes out next Monday.
Yeah.
This Monday there'll be a ranking. Next Monday there'll be another one, at least for the boys, and I think there's one more after that for the girls. Sub-state rankings are coming out very soon, so every game for them that they play this week and next week is very important. Once the last sub-state ranking comes out, then we also have a week for state tournament rankings. So it's just, these are the most important games of the season for these players. Remember, some of these players will never see a soccer field again after their sub-state hopes are over. So we all know that we're all tired this time of the year. It's just going to be the mental piece of the game that we have to be strong with, right? Physically, we may not be 100%, but mentally we have to be locked in and turned on from the first whistle until the last 10 seconds, right? We've seen the last few videos where it's been, seconds left on the clock, and we're having to make a decision, or we're having to make a yellow or red card decision. So let's stay locked in the whole game.
Very controllable situation where referees made their job much harder for themselves.
And one other note while we're sitting here. Again, we're picking clips that people can learn from. Understand that we are getting a lot of clips that are also in the positive. There is a lot of good things happening across the state, and this isn't to overshadow all the good that's happening. A lot of referees are doing a lot of really good proactive management, a lot of really good things. But we can all learn from these instances that may be some weird situations, or to our biggest point, late in the game, ensuring that we are giving maximum effort for these players on the night we're out there. But just know there's a lot of good also happening out there. But we want to make sure this is educational and learning.
Awesome. Okay, this next one, we have a lot of two-mans going on in the world, guys. It's just where we are. This is a little bit of a counterattack here. Coach sent this in.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think two mans are one of my favorite systems of control, right? You don't get to do it very often, but when you do, there's a lot of field to cover for the two of you. I think when you look at this clip and we kind of kick it off, right? I'm not sure what the initial play was or why our near side referee is so deep, but in a two-man system, you really should be only as deep in the run of play as your highest attacker. So your highest attacker, right? So again, we want to be somewhere in line with where Mike is showing to start our run there. Again, if you have a corner kick, you can cheat a little bit, get up and in, help your other referee. But in the run of play, we kind of use that highest attacker as our line of reference. Here, if we're in line with them, obviously this referee has tons of speed, as he's able to catch up very quickly, but unfortunately he put himself in a bad position to not be able to see that. So just as we've seen in that Centennial clip, you're not really in line with that decision, kind of as the AR wasn't in line with that decision. So you're making a very tough decision late in the game on if you have a SPA versus DOGSO, if you have a foul at all, right? And what that looks like. So you're really trying to put a lot of things together at full speed, at full sprint, where maybe this referee is just at a jog as that play is happening, because he's able to keep up so easily.
So now,
again, positioning.
Right now we see a handling outside the area by the keeper, which would result in a DOGSO red. you can see a blue player right here. So the referee can't see it.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's the point is what Rob broke down, not so much about, but because he wasn't on the right angle, so he couldn't see it. So the effort was there.
I want to just make it, another, which is the same point what Rob said, and I just, want to say it a little differently. As a referees, put yourself in situation, what possibly, is two men, it's not ideal. And that's why we don't encourage and we don't, but, if it's happened, we're going to apply and we're going to allow it, but, it's not ideal. So where the most of the stuff, is going to happen, where it's critical decision that we have to address, possibly goal scored, possibly goal disallowed, offsides, that kind of stuff. Attacking third, right around the goals. So if we want to cheat, and that's a wrong word to say in this kind of panel, if we want to kind of absorb and adjust, give a little more in the central part of the field and stay away, back closer to the goal. So, if you have a free kick, if you have things that you need to address in middle of the field, at least they're not goal scoring opportunity right there where you have to act, a split second and decide, gain this, a critical decision to make.
All right, gentlemen, just one more while we're talking about kind of a cruise and cruise helps. We had a foul that is going towards the goal that we can see. And you have an AR running in, which does not seem normal to me.
Doesn't seem normal, huh, Mike?
That does not seem
not that far in
me.
on the field. Okay, all right. Maybe he
clearly there was a decision made. It's a free kick. Clearly, it appears as though the information transfer is what's trying to happen, and maybe panel correct me if you think something different. But I feel there's an information transfer that maybe the assistant referee is trying to communicate to the referee, and I think maybe Hito can chat about the mechanics that maybe we'd like to see an assistant referee do if there's information that we want to download to the referee.
Well, when we break down, thank you, Jake. Thank you, Rob, and Mike. But when we break down, even the youth level, that, grassroots level that we're addressing and teaching and educating our officials, the importance of, staying in your lane and what that means. What that means, I have information for the referee I can provide, and that is staying on your sideline. And then, either make eye contact, if you have a comms, you can discuss through the comms, or you put the flag up, and get his attention or her attention that you want to share. By any means, do not get mad at the referee if he doesn't take our informations. We just, inform our referee and then I'll go on with our business. In this instance, this is kind of, Mike is using, choice word, but, to me, it's almost laughable. What are we doing? Okay, so we're going back in the previous clips, referees creating the problems for themselves. This is so manageable. I don't care what was it called, but you have the proper ways that we're teaching, educating, and telling our referees how to administer. Rob mentioned, very good point, but that's even irrelevant at this, this time. What is, green area, red area, where we control, where we can assist, when we don't assist, but just like this is unheard of. It's usually don't seen on our soccer field that the AR assistant referee comes so deep on the field, middle of the field, and share the information. Doesn't matter what the information is.
I have one small question for Rob. How would you in your pregame, or how do you in your pregame expect this information to be transferred to you if you were in the middle and you had your assistant referees?
Yeah, that's a great question, Jake. Right, when we talk pre-games, I always talk about giving me the information visually, in a sense of, if you have a yellow card, pat your top pocket, right? Just keep patting your top pocket. So if I'm looking at you and you're patting your top pocket, giving me information, if I give you a thumbs up and I got the information and I'm not taking it, right? Don't take it personally, right? It's just, I got your information. I hear what you're saying. I may not want to do it at that time. Same with the red card. If you have a red card, I want you to tap the front of your leg, right? So if you tap your butt, that doesn't help me, right? I may not even see you tapping your butt, or I could just be thinking you're fixing your shorts. I don't know, right? So tap the front of your... I will
say, though, a lot of pre-games do say that. They prefer back pocket pat.
Sure. Which I understand, right? This is another level, right? So for me, I want it on the front. That's telling me a red card. So the pocket up top is going to be a yellow card, and the front of your leg is going to be red card. So if in this instance you thought there was a red card, I should be seeing you tapping your leg vigorously, which is letting me know you have information. If you have your flag up, that would also let me know you have information. And that's what I would say. Hey, either give me a flag or give me one of those signals that I'm looking for, and I'm going to look at you, right? So if I'm giving you a thumbs up, it means I'm getting the information. But I appreciate the information. If I don't take it, that's on me. I'll eat that. When I talked to Hito as my national referee coach on that game, that Hito, he told me the information. I decided to go a different route. But again, if you're giving me information, what I don't need is a conference in the middle of the field between us on what that's going to be, right? So give me the information, we'll go on, because what if we have a quick free kick there and I decided to not take the information? Now the AR is halfway on the field. We have a quick free kick, and now we, as the referee crew, have to stop that attack because we're out of position. So again, my pregame is always give me the information visually so I can see it. Hopefully the camera sees it as well. This way we can speak to it after the game.
Rob, I want to ask you, one more thing, and one other thing. Since we are going into the closer to the playoffs, we're reaching boys, girls, there's a possibility you're going to work with the crew that you don't work, the whole season. So you don't have the comfort level, you don't know what they're capable. Would you be okay if I tell on my pregame to my crew, like, we red, yellow card, tap from pocket, no problem. Red card, we're gonna talk, because it doesn't matter, because I want to hear what you have to say before I decide, because to me that's that big decision of the match, unless it's obvious and I just need a reassurance, that
Sure.
I'm already leaning towards red. But would that be okay? Just
Yeah,
for
I
the
think that
record?
makes sense, right, Hito? I think you said it exactly how we speak or I speak in my pregames, is if I'm completely lost and I've mentally checked out of a game and you're helping me give a red card, I'm gonna come talk to you because I need to know what that red card's for. Maybe it's something off the ball that I didn't see. But when I do come to you, I need facts, right?
Yeah.
Don't tell me you think or you thought
Oh,
or you
don't you
believe,
dare tell me
right?
I
Please,
think.
when I get to you, so we, going back to that clip, that Centennial clip, right? When the referee goes over to the assistant referee, I need facts from that assistant referee, whether it's inside or outside the area. That's the first decision I need to know from you. And then if you have a card decision, I need the fact of why it's a card decision. Don't tell me, hey, I think it's a red card because I thought that was the last offender. Unfortunately, I've already shut off what you were saying because you said the word think or thought, and you've added doubt to our decision. So I'm immediately going to a different decision, right? So again, when we talk about the pregame and what we're going to talk about, how we're going to assist versus insist, those assistant referees need to give facts. To your point, Hito, if an assistant referee is asking for a red card, the referee needs to speak with him about that, and facts need to be given, and we need to decide as a crew on what that's going to be. Now, if Jake is giving me that information and I don't take it, that doesn't mean Jake needs to get frustrated and turn off during the game, because I still need Jake for the rest of the game. So don't take it personally if the referee also doesn't take that information. It just could be that he either didn't see it that way or wants to manage it differently, and that's on the referee. You've given him your facts and information, and we will go on from there. The
Guys,
crew needs to continue to stay a crew.
one thing I would like to continue in, when I had started to get more experience refereeing when I was coming up than the center referees, I had to learn something, and it was simple for somebody. We've all heard it, but I want to make sure everyone else has heard it. You are there to assist, not insist. And at times, especially if it's outside of our zones, and maybe we'll do another little training, or maybe we'll throw that in at the beginning of next year. If it's outside of our zones, you're there to give information, which everyone else on this panel just described well. But you're not there. Sometimes you're just assisting. You have to remember that you're not insisting on a decision. You're assisting. And that really stuck with me. I think I tried to overpower when I maybe had more experience than the center. I thought I was helping them, but in reality, it's not helping them. Yeah.
Mike, what was
It
the
becomes
most
confusing at times.
what was the
Go ahead,
most
Jake.
important part of this entire conversation that we need to do when we meet with our referee crew?
Pregame?
We need to do our pregame. We're
Yes.
going into the postseason. Referees, I should never hear from an assistant referee that we didn't do a pregame on the last match, or we ran out of time. There wasn't enough time to do a pregame. You should have prepared a 1 to 5 minute pregame, and a little longer if you're doing a postseason game where it's just you and the crew. Maybe you're traveling together and you're able to take a car ride and you're able to have a 15 or 20-minute pregame. You should have that prepared, and don't skip that. That's a necessary step, and hit the important things.
All right, guys.
Pregame. I just want to add, what Jake says, echo. Your pregame for the postseason can start, as soon as the crew is, formed and accepted. You can start the pregame, checking the schedule, checking the teams, opponents, blah blah blah, and everybody should have some kind of input in the pregame by itself.
Okay, we are in crunch time. Rob alluded to it. Some of our legs are tired. Let's take care of ourselves. Let's eat properly. Guys, the referees, Jake mentioned this. We are doing a wonderful job. Let's keep it positive. Let's keep it going forward. And let's keep it working on together. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.